everyone, Elton here, the online presence guy. So today I want to just talk about a subject that often gets me triggered, really, and that is about which website host is best for your business. So I'm in quite a few groups on Facebook, freelance groups, small business support groups, etc. And without fail, every time someone asks about which website host is best for my business, you get a lot of people who are WordPress developers or designers who will swear that WordPress is the only option, and that if you are considering anything else, that you are a fool. This is fake news, people, and it really irritates me. Sure, WordPress has its place, and absolutely I will recommend WordPress sites if your business plans and growth call for WordPress. However, Wix and Squarespace sites, for example, and there's GoDaddy and there's many other options. However, Wix and Squarespace are the ones that I've primarily got most experience with, alongside WordPress. They are very viable options depending on your business. So, for example, if you're only ever going to be a one-man business or woman business, WordPress is often overkill for you, especially based on your technical experience. So if you have very limited technical experience, WordPress is probably going to be a step too far for you, and you are going to have to engage with someone to provide monthly support and maintenance. So you're going to be hooked into a retainer. Typically, this can average between £30 to £50 per month. And that's over and above, obviously, your hosting fees and things like that. So Wix and Squarespace, both of my websites, my photography website and the online presence guy website, are both based on Wix. The photography one has been around now for about 3 or 4 years and ranks really well on SEO on Google, and internationally. So there are many of my high keywords, for example, commercial photographer, are ranked very well in my local area, plus Cambridge, which is around 30-minute drive from me. And some terms are nationally ranking very well on page 1. So I know from experience that there is no issue with Wix or Squarespace with regards to SEO. And one of the things that a lot of web developers don't tell you about SEO is that yes, obviously setting up your website and the content on each of the pages is important, and making sure that you've got those keywords in place on your pages is important. However, SEO isn't simply about what tags and things you put on your website and on the pages. It's also about ongoing efforts with regards to SEO. So anyone who's promising you that they will get you ranking on page 1 overnight, frankly, is talking nonsense, and they will just take your money and leg it, because SEO never ends. It's a constant process where you have to put out blog posts, get backlinks to your website from other websites, and it just never ends. And one of the easiest ways, or the most effective ways for SEO, is blogging. So I put out blog posts. I try to put out one at least once a week, and a minimum of twice every 2 weeks, so twice a month. However, so just back to the point here, I just went off at a tangent there. So if you're a small business like myself, and I don't intend to ever have employees, I may subcontract some of the work out when necessary, but otherwise I don't plan to grow my staff or employ anybody else. So for me, I don't have ambitions to become a big business selling thousands of products, etc., etc. So Wix or Squarespace is absolutely fine for my requirements. The SEO is great on both platforms, providing you know what SEO is and how you need to continue to grow your SEO. They rank really well when you put them through online testing sites like GTmetrix, for example. If the page is designed correctly, it will perform well. And again, this is something that WordPress developers don't really say when they are trying to convince you that Wix and Squarespace should be avoided. They don't tell you that it really doesn't matter what the platform is. If you build a poor website on that platform, it's going to perform poorly. I test my Wix website, the online presence guide, against many WordPress sites, especially those when you do get web developers coming along and arguing how crap Wix or Squarespace websites are, I will then go and find their website and do comparative tests against their website and my website. Their website obviously being WordPress. And without a lie, at least 90+% of the time, their website actually performs worse than mine does. And these are people arguing that Wix or Squarespace sites are terrible. So there's a blog post on my blog about how to choose a web designer. And in that blog post, I provide a couple of tests that you can actually do on the web designer's webpage, so that you can actually see, do they know what they're talking about, or are they just talking the talk? I walk my walk, walk my talk. Is that it? I will not offer to do things if I am not confident that I can make that happen. So please ignore the naysayers when it comes to Wix and Squarespace, because WordPress at the end of the day is still a website design, website builder. Yes, you can do bespoke design work. If you are a coder, you can input raw code into your website, so it does give you a bit more flexibility. But honestly, for the vast majority of clients that I work for, Wix and or Squarespace sites will do exactly what they need. For example, my photography website allows me to take online bookings. It allows me to take online payments. It allows me to have multiple staff in those booking calendars, so that, for example, if I'm a hairdresser, you can book with a certain person based on their availability, and when you update your calendar, that's then updated in the Wix calendar, so you're never going to get people booking when that staff member is not available. I can have a e-commerce store on there where I can sell some of my limited edition prints, etc. So for me personally, I'm never going to outgrow the capabilities that are available in Wix or Squarespace. Yes, again, I say it really does depend on your business model and your plans for growth, which platform I would recommend. But I will always recommend what's best for your business. Not what's best for me, not what's my personal preference, but what's best for your business. And the other thing that WordPress developers rarely never mention is the fact that in excess of 90% of all online web attacks are aimed at WordPress sites. 90%. So that's massive, considering how many millions of WordPress sites there. I believe the statistic is WordPress has over 26% of all websites in the world are based on WordPress. Now, if you imagine 90% of all attacks are occurring on WordPress sites, it's a staggering number. So if you're not technical, if you don't know how to keep abreast of the vulnerabilities in WordPress, you are going to have to engage with a support and maintenance contract, and you are going to have that additional monthly payment that you have to pay someone to do that for you. Whereas with Wix and Squarespace, that all occurs for you naturally. As soon as Wix or Squarespace identify a vulnerability, they patch the system for you. Whereas in WordPress, a plugin may be vulnerable, the plugin gets updated, but it's down to you then to go in and update that plugin on your website to ensure that vulnerability is not there anymore. As I record this video, I believe there's over 500 known vulnerabilities in WordPress and plugins. The platform itself is pretty secure, but it's the plugins that are a problem. So you've got to understand, WordPress is what it's called open source. So you don't pay for WordPress itself, and the plugins are built by third parties. They're not built by WordPress developers. They are built by anyone. Anyone who's a developer can basically create a plugin. So the obvious problem there is that the quality and assurance process is just not there, because there's no formal process for making sure these plugins that people are developing are secure and don't have vulnerabilities. So whilst developers, especially WordPress developers, will always rave about, oh, you've got so many options with WordPress, you've got, I think it's over 15,000 plugins or something you've got at the moment with WordPress. So whilst they sell that as a major benefit of using WordPress, it's actually, in my opinion, the massive con for using WordPress, because you have this abundance of plugins that aren't checked, they aren't regulated, they aren't quality assured, and therefore you can be installing a major vulnerability on your website. So just to recap then, do not remove Wix and Squarespace from your list of possible hosts for your website. It's purely based on your business plan, your business goals, your technical ability, and how much firefighting you want to do. Because I can almost guarantee you, if you have a WordPress site, at some point is going to be attacked. It's just the nature of the beast, unfortunately. And if you're not on top of updating your plugins and making sure everything's up to date with your WordPress site, you are going to run into problems. I get probably on average 2 to 3 inquiries a week from WordPress website owners asking me if I can diagnose an issue for them. There's a vulnerability, they've had a hack or something, and I don't personally do them, simply because there are so many plugins. It can take hours to determine where the problem is, what needs to be updated, and it's just not something that I'm keen on doing. That's why if I do decide that WordPress is the best option for your business, I will either refer you to someone who is a web designer, a WordPress web developer, and let them take care of your build for you. And when I do get issues, clients getting in contact with me about being hacked and needing someone to take care of the website for them, again, I'll refer that work, because it's just not something that I find joy in, hunting down vulnerabilities and fixing issues with WordPress. So there you go, guys. I hope that's been useful. There are a couple of blog posts on my blog that go into detail about WordPress and Wix and Squarespace and the pros and cons for each one. So please do hop across to the blog, have a look, and if you've got any questions at all, I'm always available to help you out. Cheers, guys. I hope it's been useful. Have a great day. Cheers. Bye.